Welcome to The Interest. I'm Katie Jensen. Today, we'll bring back maximum conversations in minimal time with LaDonna Lockard to help maximize your industry knowledge. Plus, our own Vincent Valvo has some words to say about trigger leads, in the form of poetry, of course. Then our own Sarah Wolak will tell us how markets are faring across the country in NMP's mortgage meteorology. And was that everyone? I want to make sure I'm being inclusive since that's the topic we addressed in the latest episode of Gated Communities podcast. I had the opportunity to sit down with Tony Thompson, the CEO and founder of the largest minority-focused mortgage association in the country, NAMMBA. Stay tuned for a preview of our conversation, Why Keep the I in DEI?
And ultimately, that was one of the initial genesis of the founding of NAMMBA, was just to provide a environment where people could come in and, again, connect and engage and build relationships.
CEO and founder of the National Association of Minority Mortgage Bankers of America, Tony Thompson, leads the largest minority-focused mortgage association in the country. He said the idea for NAMMBA began more than 20 years ago, at a time when he didn't feel included in the workplace. Inclusion, the I in DEI, is often harder to instill in a company, Thompson says. It requires maintenance over company culture. He says that there are some telltale signs that a culture is not as inclusive as it could be.
Really simple. All you have to do is just look at, one, your turnover rate and identify and understand from an ethnicity, from a gender, from an age standpoint, are there gaps and or themes that you're seeing?
As part of the commitment to diversifying a sales team or C-suite, it requires hiring diverse talent and retaining them. It doesn't matter if a company hires 20 women in a year if 25 other women also left that year. Thompson said he's seen retention slip over the past year with industry consolidation. Not many companies are holding on to their DEI officers.
What we've seen is through this most recent downsizing and right sizing of the organization, a lot of those same individuals are individuals that are no longer supporting those various organizations, which begs the question, how real and how true are the commitment?
Throughout the episode, Thompson delves into the origins of NAMMBA, unconscious bias, and how more diversity generates higher profitability.
Because it allows you to be able to ensure you are accessing and connecting with all parts and all segments of the market, thus resulting in a larger market share, more market share, and more profitability because you're reaching untapped markets than your competitors are.
To listen to the full episode, check out Gated Communities at nationalmortgageprofessional.com. For The Interest, I'm Katie Jensen.
We all dream of owning a home. But for too long, if you didn't fit the mold, you were stuck. Stuck because the system worked for everyone except you. We've changed that. Angel AI uses advanced AI technology to give a 100% trusted solution and fast answers for worry-free financing, allowing you to achieve fair and equal access to lending. Angel AI. AI you can bank on.
For The Interest, I'm LaDonna Lockard. I'm here today with Jake Felter. Jake, I gotta know, how did you get into the mortgage industry?
Good question. I started in the mortgage business in 1999 as a subprime loan officer.
Timely.
Didn't even know that there was a T and two G's in mortgage. Didn't know what accumulation meant, but I was a loan officer for a few years and then became a correspondent rep, wholesale rep, and did a lot of different things over the last 25 years. But started out at the humble beginnings as a subprime loan officer.
You've kind of seen everything then. The industry has changed just a little bit.
Quite a bit.
Okay. What advice do you have for new people coming into the industry, being that you've kind of seen all the twists and turns this industry can throw at you? What would you tell someone just entering?
Yeah, I love that question. And I'm really good at giving long answers to short questions, but I'll be brief. About 10 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, I was part of a group that created an internship for the mortgage bankers of Alabama.
Ooh,
And through that process, I got to go to college campuses and talk to business students and finance students about careers in mortgage. And the thing that I always talked about was you can do any job in this industry and it be your purpose. That it doesn't have to be a job or a paycheck. There really aren't any menial tasks in mortgage because every transaction is giving somebody the ability to better themselves by moving into a better home or to move out of an apartment or to a better school system. So every transaction is enriching somebody's life in some way. And so I just say, look at it as a purpose. And I had a shift in my career at one point where it went from a paycheck to a purpose. And I'm now Pollyanna about the mortgage industry. So yeah, just think you look at every transaction as an opportunity to put a family in a home.
that is a really beautiful answer. And knowing you the way that I do, I know that you are a huge advocate. You are such a believer in mortgage advocacy. What is it that kind of got you started down that road? What does mortgage advocacy look like to you?
Yeah, another great question, and it really timely as it's Mortgage Action Alliance Action Week this week. But I went through the process of the schools of mortgage banking and the CMB through the mid 2015 20 teens, and it just gave me another renewed purpose in how regulated our industry is, right? How Dodd-Frank has changed our industry in so many things. And it's just so important. Things can happen every day where there could be legislation that affects what we do and how we're able to help those consumers buy homes. And so being a part of the process, being involved in the Mortgage Action Alliance or in any state opportunity, it's just a great opportunity to have your voice heard, to be able to let your legislators, let your Congress members know how important it is that what they do affects their constituents in our industry.
Perfect. I think that is a perfect answer. And I know that you are a man who practices what he preaches. So thank you. Thank you for that insight. Thank you for being here with me today. And I hope people find you because if there's one thing I know about you, it's that you're kind of connected. I dare say you're the mayor.
I don't know. That's an elected position. I may be self-appointed, but I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I love the opportunity to connect great people with great people, and there's so many great people in our industry.
Well, I
Like
should
yourself.
appreciate
And
you
so
today.
it's really a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. For the interest, I'm LaDonna Lockard.
For home loan apps and housing dreams, where some mortgage brokers plot their schemes, there lurks a tool both sly and bold. Trigger leads, a story to be told. With databases vast, they quietly wait for borrowers in a financial state, a credit score dip, an app made too. That's when trigger leads come into view. They pounce like cats on unsuspecting prey, whispering sweet promises, come what may. Lower rates, better terms, they cry, as borrowers ponder, should they comply? Some lenders, with their charm so slick, hustle and haggle, just like a magic trick. They'll paint a picture, oh so rosy and bright, but beware the fine print, hidden from sight. For trigger leads, they may seem benign, but in the hands of a few, they often shine like a spider's web. They weave and ensnare, leaving borrowers in a financial affair. So if you're in the market for a home loan deal, watch out for trigger leads. They're real. Trust your gut and do your research well, or you might find yourself in a lender's spell.
Welcome back to this week's Mortgage Meteorology, where we'll touch on all things to do with the overall climate of the housing market, not just in our neighborhood, but yours too. Today, we have a special regional report. Two of the hottest housing markets are experiencing a billowing supply of homes for sale this spring, as well as price cuts. A new report from Redfin says that housing supply is surging like wildfire in both Florida and Texas, and asking prices are seeing a cold front after the pandemic-era buying boom. Of the 10 metro areas that posted the largest year-over-year increases in supply, 6 are in sunny Florida and 2 are in Texas. Cape Coral, Florida saw the biggest gust in homes for sale at 51%, followed by Northport, Sarasota, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, McAllen, Texas, Orlando, Dallas, and West Palm Beach. Let's look at prices, which are starting to melt from their peaks. Of the 10 metro areas where sellers were most likely to cut their list prices, Florida and Texas saw the biggest cool-off. In Northport, Sarasota, 48% of listings had a price cut, the highest share in the country. Other Florida metros seeing some relief are Tampa, Cape Coral, Orlando, and Jacksonville. Texas, on the other hand, saw pricing plummets of 33% in both Houston and San Antonio. Meanwhile, the National Association of Realtors' pending home sales index warmed up 3.4% in March, increasing to 78.2. Year over year, pending transactions were up 0.1%. Regionally, the Northeast, South, and West saw some toasty monthly gains in purchase transactions, while the Midwest recorded a frosty March loss. Let's hope for more good news. I'll meet you back here next week for your updated housing market barometer.
For more on these and all of today's top stories, go to nationalmortgageprofessional.com.